Alrighty, so welcome back to the channel, guys. So I'm starting off a brand new installation on a customer's car, and I just thought I'd take you guys along for the ride. So let's get this thing rolling. Alright, so the car is, I don't have it with me right now. I already took some stuff and I'm just about getting started with. So this is what I usually start up building my harness with. Just different size wire, colored wires, striped, unstriped, 18 gauge, 22 gauge, and what. So that is the raw material. So I already went ahead and I took some measurements from the car a couple months ago. We had some difficulty getting the harness started since I was out of Ireland, and then I needed additional measurements and the owner was out, but now I'm about to start up with that. So I'm going to be taking you guys along for the ride. So the car is a I think early 90s Mitsubishi Lancer. We call it Liberos down here, with a 4G63 turbo swap into it. And that is what I'm essentially making the harness for. I already took measurements. It's going to be powered by a speeduino ECU, I believe. Yeah, speeduino ECU, since I'll be the one providing the ECU anyways. And it's going to be on a detonation EMS speeduino ECU. I think it's an X4 4-channel, and for the most part it's just going to be a simple harness with just fuel control, spark control, and the step. We're going to be using the stock stepper idle valve, and in addition to that, I'm also going to be installing a boost solenoid through him so that I can actually try to do boost control for him on that car. He doesn't have any particular goals in horsepower or times or anything of that sort. All he wants is just a car that he can actually drive and it'd be reliable. The reason I'm making a new harness is because the current harness on the car is not the best. So anyways, I'm gonna get started with that. I already went ahead and I have lots of notes, measurements and whatnot. This is what I usually start off with, and then probably not gonna show you guys that process since I already did that a couple videos ago. So I'm just gonna go ahead and skip through that and hopefully show you guys the finished product in a few days. Alrighty, so at the end of that first day, didn't get much done. I think I had like 3 hours into it, and I have like 90% of the wires already laid out here. Still need a couple more, I think about 5 or so wires. Still need to add ignition control for my igniters and whatnot, but for the most part this is most of the wires in the harness. So I'm gonna finish that up tomorrow. I'm thinking in the future changing up how I do harnesses. It takes a lot of time to cut and measure everything, so I think I can be a bit more efficient if I just buy wiring bundles from Haltech or one of those guys. I mean, it costs a little bit more, but it saves me a little bit of time, and when you calculate how much I charge per hour, it balances out itself. So signing off for today. I'm gonna pick up tomorrow. Alrighty, so back at it, and so far already some hurdles, so it's not part of my wiring job, but I intended to take the car out for a drive before I don't think I've actually shown you guys the car, but anyways, I intended to take the car on a drive. More than likely it will not be dyno tuned, so for now the starter is dead. So it's trying to take it out for a drive and it's already dead, but so far here is the car. It's a, let me zoom out of it. So it's a Mitsubishi Libero. It's actually a Wagon, right? And it does have a 4G63 swap in it. It has some smallish turbo, some Garrett turbo, I'm not sure. It might be T25. This is the wiring harness we're trying to replace. So again, this is body harness, not exactly what it's not really part of my job, but my job is to just fix up the engine harness here, all this tape stuff, put something fresh in there, and then retune it for him. His goals are very, very, his goals are very modest. He doesn't want a high horsepower car. He just wants it to be fun and reliable, which is what we intend to deliver. I'm not sure what wastegate pressure is on it. That's why I wanted to actually drive it before that. I wanted to get a feel of how it feels. so I know what I'm fixing. But so far, the starter is fighting me. So I'm going to try to knock out this starter. I'm going to test it. If it doesn't work out, I'm going to drop it off to get repaired. And then I'm going to go right back into finishing up the harness. Alright, just finished off a 10-minute test drive with the car. And for the most part, it drives. It's not quick. According to the boost gauge, it's showing about 14 pounds. I don't think the car is making 14 pounds. I think the boost gauge is according to it, I think the boost gauge is showing around maybe 5 or so psi too high. My guess is the car is actually making around 7 or 8 pounds, give or take. It does have some sputtering when you initially get on throttle, but that could be the airflow sensor, that could be anything. The purpose is not to actually troubleshoot the stock ECU, since it might be wiring, it might be all of that. So next I'm just going to start tearing into it and hopefully pick up when we have the new harness installed. Alright, so we have the final product right here. And okay, this end goes to the speeduino connector, which is just dangling off the table. But for the most part, it's a very simple harness. Resistor pack, 4 injectors, coils. It does have a boost control solenoid. We do have fan and whatnot. I am missing 2 connectors, which I'm waiting to well, I have one here for this one is supposed to be the coolant temp sensor. I need to add that. And intake temp, which I have, I'm going to add that next as the last connector. I'm waiting for the coolant temp, but for the most part the harness looks good. Right, so just gonna throw that in and try to hook it up to the body harness and hopefully get a start before the sun sets. That's my little helper right there. Helper. Okay, the flash is on. Alright, so a lot has happened over the last few weeks with this car. The Libero with the 4G60 swap. And for the most part, I've just been trying to knock it out because it spanned a little bit longer than I would have wanted. So let me bring you guys up to speed with everything that I've done so far. Alright, so as you can see over here, the harness is essentially done. So you can see in the back here, remember what the harness looked like. So I have my harness in there, new connectors on everything, and I also have a Spartan 2, my Spartan 2 wideband in there, just so that I can do some tuning. This car did not have a wideband on there, it actually just had a narrow band, so now I am using that. This side of the car, trying my best to clean it up for him. This is the body harness side, so lights and whatnot. Trying to throw some tape on it to make it look a little bit neater and whatnot. So I'm gonna get to that in a little bit, but for the most part, not really what I was contracted to do. I still have the air temp sensor. We need to tap into here, is intercooler piping and whatnot, but for the most part, this was my domain, and I think I'm very happy with that. How it turned out looks pretty good, if I may say so myself. So okay, trying to do all of this. I really have to get out of the house. I need to drop off this car to Fabian today because I started doing some tuning yesterday, and for the most part the clutch on this car is gone. So it seems to be on wastegate pressure now, which is around 6.5-7 pounds, and as soon as you go wide open throttle, it just blows through the clutch. So I cannot tune on that, so I'm dropping the car back off for him. Pump, he has to sort out that clutch. He says he has a brand new clutch to put on there. Starter is a little bit noisy, but he says he needs some spacers and whatnot. So a bunch of little issues that need addressing. I also saw it again a little bit hot. Despite the gauge on the cluster saying it's quarter way, the speeduino says that it was 100 plus degrees Celsius, which is very hot. So again, I'm gonna try to do a cold start now, and then after that I need to install. Okay, then let me show you what I have on the inside. So the harness is done, but I just need to tuck everything up. These 3 wires for the wideband and whatnot I need to take off because they're only temporary. So the ECU is going to be under there, all neat up and whatnot. But for now, let me try and do a cold start for you guys. me do it off camera, and I'll pick up a little bit afterwards. Alright, so before I go to do the cold start, I just wanted to show you the results of yesterday's drive. Yesterday was the first drive, and this is the log. So just a histogram with manifold pressure and RPM here. And these were the AFRs that the car was actually hitting. But to that, let me give you some reference of what my targets actually are. So my targets are like something like this. Right, so looking at around a 14.0 in cruise and like low 14s in low RPMs, and in boost I'm targeting like a 12, just so we can get a safe starting point. And this is how far off it was. So some points, about half an AFR point, so not bad for a base tune in boost. Right up here we can see it's in the 10, so that's very rich, but I mean still not dangerously rich. So fair starting point, and I can compare it to when I first drove the car, and the car felt a million times better, which is evident since it actually drove fine on the stock clutch, sorry, and with the stock ECU, and now with just this in there and pig rich AFRs and very little timing, it's already blowing through the clutch, so it's making more torque. So now I'm going to do the cold start like I said, and then we'll pick up actual. But I just wanted to show you guys this since it's the base tune, and this is what a base tune is supposed to do. Well, a good base tune anyways. Yep, Fabian is gone, and I'm all by myself. Supposed to be tuning Joel's Subaru this afternoon. His STI swap legacy. He's running late, so guess I'm gonna end it here. Hopefully the wind noise is not too bad and you guys can actually hear me. But I'm gonna end it here. So fast forward, it's been a few weeks, literally a few weeks, and let me bring you guys up to speed with what's happened with Fabian's car. Okay, so what ended up happening is that the day he was supposed to come and get the car so that we could have done the high boost runs, because it's still on gate. I think it's like, it was 7 pounds, 8 pounds, 5 pounds, if I recall correctly, 5 pounds of boost. And I installed a max solenoid down there for him. So morning I went to start the car to drop it off for him, well, to take it to the track so that we can do it. It would not start. For the life of me, it would not start. So the night before I started it just to check cold starts and whatnot, but the next day it wouldn't start. So I tried banging it, and that brings us to this point. We ended up having to take the motor apart. We found number one rod was bent. We found 3 cylinders filled with fuel. So for the most part, we're still not sure what happened with that. The injectors were sent out to clean, and the guy who did the cleaning says that they look good to him. We put everything back together. The car started up. Well, it gave us a little bit of a hard start. The starter was still messing about, so he still has to sort out his starter. But for the most part, everything is good. So again, we found the cause of the problem. Not the cause. We saw the symptoms. We saw a bent rod, number one. I think I have a picture of it I may put up. We found that, but we have not found what exactly caused it. The fuel pressure is good, the injectors are good, the tune is on change, and then now it's still running good. So it's not a tune issue, it's not an ECU issue. We're not sure. But he ended up having to take the motor apart. Himself and his friend Neil took them about a day and a half to get back here. They put a good thing that they took it apart. The connecting rod bearings were actually shot on these engines. He was very close to spinning a rod bearing, so it's a good thing the motor had to come apart. He used that opportunity to freshen that up. Now, he was there a short while ago, but we have wideband and everything hooked up, laptop as well, and we found an oil leak under there, and it turned out to be his oil drain fitting. He had a fitting that he had braced together that broke. Good thing we caught it here and not when we were driving, because he would have lost all of his oil, and I would have ended up with him spinning a bearing. So the car is determined to spin a bearing. So I'm waiting for him to come back. Hopefully today we can get the pump to stop priming. Hopefully today we can actually take the car out for a drive. He can take it home, drive it. I do have, it's like 2 o'clock now. I have a remote tune in, I think at 4. So hopefully he gets everything sorted in a little bit. We can take it out for a street drive, make sure everything is good as we left it before, and then he will take it home, and then we'll probably bring it back another day on the track, and then we'll finish it off with the high boost. Well, not high boost per se, just higher boost. It's on 5 pounds. So for me, I told him he had a couple issues like the intercooler piping, which is in some spots inch and a half roughly. So I told him that needs to get up to at least 2 inches for the T25 turbo he has. 2 inches on the hot side, and on the cold side 2 inches can work for his power level, but I would prefer about 2.5 on the cold side. So he has that to sort out. But for now, high boost is probably gonna be maybe 8 pounds, 10 pounds up from the 5 pounds. It will be a lot faster than the car has ever been, but not until we fix all of those little issues I feel comfortable pushing it higher than that, because we pretty much trying to breathe for a straw now. So again, waiting for him to come back, and I'll pick up with some more progress then. So I have 17% charge, Fabian, so we'll make it real quick. So how did your day go today?
Oh, good.
Okay.
From 5 to 10.3.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So
Doing very well.
Yeah, so we got 10.3 pounds of boost, still a little bit conservative. But what we noticed at the 10 pounds with the TDO 4 turbo is that started to really, the HMs went up really fast, from like 30 degrees Celsius to 71 in just 2 gears. So
I guess the intercooler will have to get a little bit bigger now.
And so it begins. Yeah, but for now everything went well. We still have a couple little gremlins for startup and whatnot, which we will sort out.
I believe by the time I put a bigger intercooler and that pipe a little bigger, she should run well.
Yeah, man. But all in all, let's give the people, they like the Liberos. A lot of parts of the world, they never got that type of car, so they don't even know what type of car it is. So it's a Libero. What year it is? It should be early 90s.
92.
92.
92.
So Libero, some people call it Lancer Wagons, but you put the 4G6 ray swap in it yourself?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so it came with the 1.5.
15, 1.5, 12 valve engine, carburetor. That shit I put it away.
Yeah, so Fabian did all of this work you see here himself, so really nice. I think the turbo is a little bit undersized for the engine, so we realized that it has a lot of mid-range but not a lot of top end, because the turbo is a little bit too small, but work in progress.
Trust me, it will get bigger. It will.
Yeah. Yeah. So all in all, it went well. The X4 ECU went well. Harness is working flawless. The only thing here we need to sort out why the fan is not. Yes. Yeah, we had an issue with a fan not coming on, but minor gremlins. But all in all, from what it was carbureted 1.5 to what it is now, I can say really nice project, Fabian.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, man. All right.